During the full rage of the Clone Wars, anti-Jedi sentiment was at an all-time high, as citizens of the Republic began blaming the war and the hardships that it brought upon them on the Jedi Order's failures on maintaining peace prior to the conflict. The Jedi were portrayed as warmongers in the media, and conspiracy theories started to rise and spread on whether the Jedi purposely created the war just to achieve more power within the Republic itself. But despite this widespread hatred and distrust in the Jedi during the war, one of them was excluded from this intense dislike and actually stood out to the public as a hero. Unlike his fellow peers, Anakin Skywalker was portrayed in an extremely positive light within the media, and was even praised for his actions and successes in the battlefield. He almost became a demigod to the public, a knight of freedom who fought solely on the intentions of protecting the Republic. The hero with no fear was what he was commonly referred to as, both by the media and the citizens. So why was Anakin praised so much and viewed as a galactic hero, despite all the other Jedi being regarded as power-hungry aggressors? Well, the short answer is Palpatine. The long answer is that well before the Clone Wars erupted, Palpatine had decided that Anakin was going to be the one to rule at his side once he became Emperor, and to be his final Sith apprentice. The concept of controlling the Chosen One, a being who had the potential of becoming the most powerful Force wielder ever, was too good for Palpatine to pass up on. His current apprentice, Dooku, was just a pawn in his greater scheme of taking over the galaxy, and nothing more. Because Anakin was a Jedi, Palpatine had to essentially convince the public that he was the good one, that he was unlike any other Jedi, and that he was going above and beyond the call of duty to protect the Republic that he dearly loved, and that his real loyalty lied with the Republic rather than the Jedi. Otherwise, Palpatine would have been called out on his hypocrisy had he made Anakin his right-hand man after denouncing the entire Jedi Order for treason. When the Clone Wars started, Palpatine went out of his way to manipulate both the media and the war itself to paint Anakin as a larger-than-life hero to the citizens. Being the puppeteer of both sides during the war, Palpatine usually knew which battles would be won by the Republic, and which ones would be won by the Separatists before they even began. He also knew which battles would be the most newsworthy of the bunch, so he made sure to always strongly insist that Anakin be the one sent to these essential engagements that he knew the Republic was most likely to find victory in, as well as battles and rescue missions that would garner the most praise by the media. An example of this was when Palpatine requested that Anakin be the one to engage and destroy General Grievous in Episode 3, after his whereabouts were discovered. The act of destroying such a hated and feared enemy, an enemy the Republic propaganda portrayed as a merciless monster that executed the Separatists' most heinous acts, would have made Anakin the war hero of the century. On top of that, he would have been credited for ending the war, boosting his overall status as the savior of the Republic. But as we know, Mace Windu rejected the request, and the Council instead sent Obi-Wan, but nonetheless, the attempt was made. Presumably, Palpatine also had Anakin removed from battles that he believed to be a lost cause to the Republic, especially battles that Palpatine didn't have direct influence over, since most of the enemy combatants were natives of the planet, and not just battle droids that his apprentice Dooku had full control over. So he took him out just to be safe, even though sometimes the Republic did ultimately win the battle. Anyway, Anakin's achievements in the battlefield were made loud and clear in the media. He quickly became a poster boy of the war effort and an inspiration to the public. He was basically the Captain America of the Republic. His accomplishments in the war ranged from freeing thousands of slaves, liberating entire planets, killing the despised Count Dooku, and finally saving the beloved Supreme Chancellor. He participated and won more battles than possibly any other Jedi during the war. And then came his final heroic act, which was wiping out the traitorous Jedi, and cementing his complete separation from the Jedi Order that the public hated so much. Now that it was made clear that Anakin no longer had any loyalty to the Jedi, he was free to be the public right-hand man of the newly emerged Emperor. The two most popular and widely beloved people at the moment ruling over the galaxy, one for leading the war effort at home, and the other for leading the war in the front lines. Anakin's loyalty to Palpatine would have only boosted the Emperor's popularity, showing that the hero of the war supported him in his policies. No one would have dared question Palpatine out of fear of being shunned by the entire Republic, giving him a far greater grip over the people, and together they would have continued Palpatine's deceptive strategy of appearing like humbled servants of the people, while in reality, secretly pursuing their own agenda of forging the galaxy to their own design. But all of this got tossed aside once Anakin lost his duel with Obi-Wan, and was terribly injured and deformed. He was no longer the handsome warrior the public saw him as. He actually barely looked human at all. And what's worse was that he had to live his entire life behind a mask and the encasement of a suit. Then you had his mental state, which was a whole other mess. Such unexpected complications almost resulted in Palpatine ditching Anakin and leaving him for dead. But he decided otherwise, believing that finding another apprentice that was half as powerful as him would take years, perhaps decades. So he decided to instead take Anakin back with him and transform him into the complete opposite of what he was originally supposed to be. Now, instead of being the hero of the galaxy that inspired millions, Anakin was to become the menacing monster that brought upon fear to millions. It was later announced to the public that Anakin Skywalker had died at the Jedi Temple during its raid. The newly constructed Darth Vader then appeared out of nowhere to the public's eyes, as he took the role of enforcing the Emperor's will through fear alone, with many believing that he was a reconstructed General Grievous from the Clone Wars. Now, although the concept of Darth Vader and the fear he symbolized was effective in keeping systems in line with the Empire, it would have been far more effective had the uninjured Anakin been the one doing the enforcement. Had Anakin remained uninjured and was the one being sent to take care of rebelling systems, then the public from the outside would have been far more supportive of his actions. They all believed that he was the hero who protected them during the war, the hero who saved them from all of the separatists. They would have been more likely to support the Empire's actions over the simple fact that Anakin supported them. They had a sense of loyalty to him, which tends to be a far stronger motivating factor for people supporting something rather than truth itself. Such a sense of loyalty was never present from Darth Vader, at least from the general public. To them, Vader was just another menacing enforcer of the Emperor. Fear can control people for only so long, and that's why Palpatine tried so hard to have Anakin be portrayed as a hero to the galaxy, as he knew he would be able to use his apprentice's favorable image to reduce the amount of dissent from his empire and maintain a greater scope of control over his people for a longer period. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe for more videos like this one. And as always, may the Force be with you.